Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Velocity 360 tutorial series. And in this video series, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to make a React project that will result in a standalone module that you can incorporate into any other website. So basically like a plugin. So it's going to be a chat module where you can drop it into any website that you want, whether or not it uses React. And then as a result, that'll give you the ability to chat on that particular website or that specific page. So this would be a good module to include in a blog, for example. If you don't want to set up your own comments or use Disqus or Facebook comments or anything like that, you can drag and drop in this module and it'll give you live chat capability. So to see a working example, if you go on, well, this is my WeWork member site. So I'm a member of WeWork. And down here in the lower right corner, down here, you see a tab called Messages. And if I click on that, it's going to load a live chat module right here. So this can be built as a standalone module using React. Now, I think they're using Angular in this case, but we're going to build this in React. And these chats will be live using Firebase in our case. And the beauty is we can use this module in any website that we build moving forward. So it'll be a good way of building something that's truly transportable. So this would be a portable project. So that's the idea behind that. So let's go ahead and get started. So fire up your terminal, go to your desktop. This is going to be a React only project, so no Node. So let's call it chat. Okay, there's our package JSON. Let's import some standard modules. Okay, good. Let's get Webpack in there. Okay, let's get all the Babel stuff going. Okay, good. Let's create our Webpack config file. And let's create a source directory. Let's cd into that and create the index. Go back up to the root level. Let's create an index.html for our rendering. And that should be good for now. So if we open this up, you should have these files and directories right now in your project. So first things first, let's go ahead and create a very simple HTML interface to work with. So let's do that. Okay, if we open this up in the browser, we should see that header tag, and we're good to go there. Let's set up our Webpack config. whoops, it's going to be source index, establish the output. That's going to be in a build directory. Actually, I'm going to go with dist on this one, and bundle.js. Because keep in mind, we're building this to be used in other projects, not necessarily just this one. So that's why I'm going with dist. Source map. Okay, can make it Babel loader. Okay, so this is our Webpack config for now. We are going to make a few changes later, but this is the minimum Webpack config we can get started with to bundle our React app. Actually, one more thing. We want a source map. Okay, that should be good. Okay, so make sure you have this, and then let's go to our index here. Set up a very simple React component. Okay, let's run the Webpack, make sure that that works. So Webpack. And here is the dist directory with the bundle and the map. So now inside the index.html, let's rewrite this to have a div with the root ID. And import the bundle. And let's give that a shot. So when we reload the page, there it is. Okay, great. So now what we want to do next is we want to, so keep in mind we want to run this through third-party websites. So what I'm going to do is go to another website like CNN or New York Times or something like that and grab some initial content to put in here, and then we want to load our bundle through that. So what we want to do is go to cnn.com, pick an article, grab all the source code. So just copy the entire thing and then just paste over your index.html with all that source code. And then reload your index page right here, reload that, and you should see the CNN content pretty much as it's on the website almost. Okay, so now we have some content we can work with to give us a more realistic testing environment. So now what we want to do next is import the bundle from here. So here is the body tag. We want to import the bundle here. And put the div with the root ID right there. Now, and here it is down here. Okay, so now we have a more realistic visual environment that we can test on. So next thing we want to do is go back to our terminal and go to our source directory and create a components directory. CD into that, and then we're going to make our standard directory structure. We want to make a containers and a presentation. And I'm not going to use Redux in this one, but I'll probably make another tutorial where I do use Redux. But on this one, I'm just going to keep it simple and maintain all the state in the containers. So if we go to our containers directory, let's create the index, and let's create a widget container. So here's the thought process. So when you go on a site using this widget, this right here will be a container component called widget, which renders this content or this content, depending on what's the state of the widget. So that's why we're calling it widget. So if we open up the index.js, let's just set up the exports real quick. Okay, and then inside the widget component, okay, and then let's import that into the main entry point. Okay, and then let's run Webpack again. Whoops, I mistakenly canceled it. Sorry about that. Okay, and then reload the index page, and here it is. So far so good. So now let's refashion this widget visually so that it shows up on the lower right corner and without taking up any div space. So what we want to do is add some styles to the widget right now, right here. So we want to make the position called absolute fixed, excuse me. And then bottom 0, right 0, background, padding, let's go with 6 on that. Okay, so All right, there it is. So here it is now. So what we did, let me add a little bit more style. Do color. And since we're making a lot of changes, we're going to run Webpack with the watch flag. Okay, here it is right now. So what we did was we made the color white so that the background, against a black background, it shows up fine. This is the important part, the position. That means it won't take up any div space. It'll just always be on the bottom. That's why the bottom 0 means pin it to the bottom. And the right 0 means pin it to the right. So it's on the lower right corner. So if I made this left, it'll swing all the way over to the left side, like that. If I made this top, it'll go all the way to the top, but it'll probably be concealed by this toolbar, which it is. So we want to put it on the bottom for that reason. So bottom. There are ways we can fix that, but for now we won't get into it. All right, and let's say the width, let's give it a fixed width for now of 320. All right. So it doesn't look quite as nice as this, but it's in the same general structure. Okay, so I'm going to put this in a local style sheet, so like that. Okay, this will make it much easier to read. So, okay, we save that and then we move on. So now what we want is a response for when somebody clicks on this. We want to toggle a view of comments. So let's handle that. So what we want here is on click this toggle comments. And let's see if that connection worked. So don't worry about all these errors when you run the console, because a lot of these are from the source code of the CNN article. So you know, don't worry about all this for now. But when you click on the div, we do get our output, and that's what we want to see. Very good. So now let's maintain some state in the container. And here is where we will determine whether or not the comments will be shown. Okay, so now when we toggle the comments, all we do is switch that Boolean. Okay. Okay, so now when we hit that button, it should toggle back and forth. And there we go. Okay, so far so good. So now let's create a comments presentation view. So components. Oops. That was a mistake. All right, let's try that again. Okay, let's set up the export. So comments. Okay, we'll make this a purely functional component. So let's go with okay. So let's go with that for now. And then let's see here. Let's import that into our index. Nope, our widget, excuse me. So import comments. Now here, excuse me, inside the render, let's set it so that if the show comments boolean is true, we return the comments component. Otherwise, we return that little black bar down here. And don't forget to run Webpack because we turned it off. And then when you click on it, it goes away. But look, the comments component shows up down here. So it worked. So everything is good so far. So if we, clearly the UI needs some work, but the state management is working so far. So here, what we want to do is set up another style object in the comments component. Where we don't want the background. Let's make the background light gray. And then let's add the style here. And let's give this a height value of, let's say, 650. Okay, let's try that, see what happens. And there it is. Let's make it a different color because it blends too well with the CNN background. So let's just make it something very harsh. All right, now we're getting somewhere. So this is going to be where our comments show up. Now you see how the toolbar on top obscures our comments sidebar. So that's going to be a problem. So the way you fix that is through what's called the Z index. If we make it 100, that should take care of that. And there we go. So the Z index is basically a reference to the XYZ coordinate plane. And by making the Z index a very large value, basically you're saying on the third dimension, make sure it's as high as it'll exceed the Z value of any other HTML component. So that's where that comes from. And let's go back to the widget and actually no, I'm gonna code this from scratch. Let's do this and then style 20, padding 24, background. Okay, try that as well. Let's see how that shows up. We want to have some height here. Let's do height of 32. Maybe 64. Let's try a margin top of 32. Okay, so here's where I was messing up. So in the comments container, I'm sorry, the comments component, we want the top parameter to be 0 so that the top edge of the div is always aligned to the top edge of the window. So it's hard to explain, but I was pinning to the bottom and therefore I wasn't getting all the way to the top, if that makes any sense. So now if I don't need this margin top over here anymore, and that gives me this over here. Now I think this padding is not necessary. Let's get rid of that. That padding value is what's giving us these edges over here. We don't want that. Much better. So now we can use this black bar on top to close the widget just like they do over here. If I click on this and I click on this again, it collapses the window. So when I click on this, I have this over here to click on so I can bring it back down. So let's do that. I'm going to maintain this text. Let's get rid of the padding. Now there was a padding of 6, so let's make the padding 6. Let's get rid of that height. Very good. So now we have the same widget that we can click on over here to toggle it back off. So let's set that up. Let's see. Yeah, in reality, this should be its own component. So I'm being a little sloppy here. Let's take care of that right now. Let's not develop any bad habits. So I'm going to make it a component out of that. So let's call it toggle. Yeah. Okay, let's go with that. Toggle bar. And this essentially is the toggle bar. So let's grab that. Excuse me. Let's grab that from here. Let's make this a stateless functional component. Don't forget the props. excuse me, and then in the widget, let's grab the toggle bar, go back to your terminal, run Webpack, and then here we want to return the toggle bar. And here it is right here. We lost some of the styling. Let's fix that. And then go back to the widget and then remove it from here because we're not using it. And that's it. Now bear in mind, we didn't attach any functions to it, so when I click on this, nothing's going to happen. So what we want to do is we want to add a function called on toggle, and then we do this toggle comments, like that. And then we just bind the function back to that, and then we go to the toggle bar and we say on click props on toggle. Very nice. Okay, so now what we want to do is import this toggle bar into the widget container, which we already did, excuse me, into the comments. So let's see here, toggle bar. Let's see, we are going to put this style inside the widget, call it comments. Gonna take these comments and return a div right here. With the comments style, like that. Okay, and so far so good. And then we want to grab the toggle bar. Where is it? Right here. And put that in here. Now the position will be a little bit off. So it'll still be on the bottom. Now you could leave it there if you want. I don't think it's really a big deal. However, if you want to position this on top, like they do over here, what you would have to do is add another property on the toggle bar, basically called position, which would take either top or bottom. And then based on that, the style would be applied. Give me a second, I just got to grab a power cable. Okay. So I think for now we're just going to leave it just because it's going to make life a little bit easier. Okay. So what that really means is that we're not going to use the comments component. So let's actually get rid of that. Alrighty, and then let's rerun Webpack. Run it one more time. Toggle the comments. Alright. Now in here, let's load a series of comments. So div Okay, so there's a comment. Let's add a border on the bottom. So that we can separate comments. And then let's see how it looks when we add 1,000,000 comments. Okay. For now, this will do. So, yeah, and then let's add a input on top. Where the user will be able to enter a comment, and then upon pressing enter, it'll add the comment to this list. Okay. Let's do some basic styling here. Let's do let's give it a height of 32. And let's remove the border. Okay. Let's give it some padding. And let's call that style input. Alrighty. And then let's see here. Let's create a component for this, just called comment. cd src components. Okay, so let's import that here. And this will be another stateless functional component. I'm just going to copy it from toggle bar and remove all the contents. And then go back to your widget and grab the actual div. Okay, let's go with that for now. And then let's go up here and import the comment. And then let's render it down here. Maybe 6-7 times. Cool. All right. So that worked. Let's see here. Okay, this is good for now. So let's see. And this toggle still works. Alrighty, let's find some functions here. So inside the input, right here, on key down, this submit comment. What we want to listen for is when the enter key is pressed. So here, submit comment. So every time the user types anything into the text field, this function will be triggered. And by looking at the key code, we can determine literally which key is being typed into. So if I type in random text here, I get all these random numbers. But if I type in the return key, I get number 13. So basically, if the return key is not pressed, so if it's not 13, don't do anything. All right, so now if I reload and I type in letters, you don't see anything here, but when I type in the return key, there it is. And then I can use that to actually see what the comment is. So now when I type in characters, I don't see anything until I hit the return key, and I see literally what's being typed in. So now we can turn that into a comment. So const comment text. And for now, this will be the only thing that a comment consists of. Eventually, we'll include like a, well, maybe I'll do it right now. We'll do a timestamp. Timestamp date. And let's see how that looks. Alrighty, so when we type this in, press enter, there's the timestamp. Type enter again, the timestamp goes up, same text. Perfect. Okay, so here I'm just shaving off the decimal points. I don't think we really need to know the thousandths of a second. And then here, let's create a comments array. And then let comments. Let's grab that from the state. add the new comment. Actually, I'm going to put it on top. We want all the most recent comments on top. Reset the state. Let's get rid of all these dummy comments. And then we want to, let's see here, comments, map through the comments from the state. And then in here, we want to return each individual comment. So key. Actually, I'm going to use the spread operator here. I think most people prefer that. And then, all right, let's give it a shot. Okay, something is off. So the comment submission worked. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. Yeah, you see right here, the comment is not being added. Whoops, wrong spot, my fault. Okay, there it is right there, and if I add another one, it keeps going up, so that's good. Oh, I forgot to return. That's silly, silly, silly. Careless mistakes. So let's see how that looks. Cool. Okay, so now obviously you can see that the comments themselves are not rendering the text. So let's fix that. So we have the comment being passed in through here as the spread operator via the spread operator. So let's go ahead and grab that. And then let's just render the text. Sweet. Notice, by the way, also the most recent comments are on top. I think this UI is nicer because when the user types something in, he won't have to scroll all the way to the bottom. He can just see it right here. So let's fix this right now where when the user enters a comment, this should clear out. So this is a little bit tricky in React. What you want to do here, actually, you know what, we're going to fix this. Let's see. I'll just do it right now. All right. All right. Cool. So now I think that's good for this first video. It's going a little bit long. So what we're going to do in the next video is hook this up to a live interface. So we're going to hook this up to a Firebase backend, whereby if two people are on this website, then these comments will load for both individuals no matter where they are. So I'm sure you realize by now this is only local. So if I reload the page, I lose all the comments. So I have to persist it somehow. So we're going to do that through Firebase, which is going to give us live updates as well. And then I'll show you how to export the project, distribute the project, so that it can be loaded into any website, regardless of whether or not it's a React project or not. So the idea is you can load this into a WordPress site, Squarespace, whatever else you want to use, and it should still just work. So I'll demonstrate that as well in the next videos. This will probably be a 3-part series. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for part 2.